having someone who's so specific in one thing is really starting to hurt sellers. So I'm really starting to advocate for having more of not a generalist, but a specialist with a generalist kind of touch to it.
Hey everyone, this is Nazar Akil from Max Pro.
Hi, I'm Linda.
And I'm Paul.
And we're 11 Pebbles.
Hi, this is Lopa Vandermersch from Rasa.
Oh, you're listening.
And you are listening to the E-Comm Show.
Welcome to the E-Comm Show, presented by BlueTuskr, the #1 place to hear the inside scoop from other e-commerce experts, where they share their secrets on how they scaled their business and are now living the dream. Now, here is your host, Andrew Matt.
I'm your host, Andrew Maffetone, and today I'm going to talk about free shipping. Is it a myth that you should do it, or is it a fact? And it is a fact. Thank you. Rate, review, subscribe, and we'll see you all tomorrow. That is how I want to end this podcast. Yes, you should do it. Here's the thing. If you can offer free shipping, you should absolutely do it. If you have to jack up the price of your product but offer free shipping, you should still do it. If you're currently operating and you're not offering free shipping and you're doing well, then why would you do it? You're already fine. It comes down to every product, every business, every owner, every aspect is different. So you have to make a decision for your own. I hate the questions of like, well, what's the industry standard? Or, my conversion rate is this and my, click-through rate is this, and what should it be? It should be better. It should always be better. I don't give a shit what your metric is. I don't care what the industry standard is. It should be better. It should always be improving. Always be, what, ABBA. Always, no, that's I. Always Abby. Jesus, can't spell. Anyway, free shipping. So if you can, the benefits of free shipping are obvious, right? Minus the fact that you need to fight with Amazon because everyone thinks that they're not paying for shipping. They're actually already paying for shipping ahead of time because they're paying for their Prime membership. However, you get so much with a Prime membership now, and Prime memberships really aren't that expensive compared to how much people actually buy on Amazon, but they are kind of, sort of already paying it. The other benefit, though, is that if you're running Google ads, you can put free shipping in your ad creative. You can put it in the shopping ads underneath your price. You can put it there. You can staple it everywhere. Every time you do a discount, instead of 20% off everything, you can jack up your prices and go 20% off everything and free shipping. It still works that way. But there's different product lines, right? You can't really do big heavy stuff, furniture and things like that. Free shipping can be very difficult to do because taking the shipping price and putting that into the product line when your product is already several $100s or several $1,000s and now shipping's going to cost another couple $100, putting that into the price could cost you a sale. So things like that you have to think about. But if you're competing with people on Amazon or you're competing with people on even Wayfair, if you're doing furniture in some cases, you have to look at what are your competitors doing and are they able to get away with free shipping or are they not doing it? And if they are getting away with free shipping, how much more expensive is their product than yours? So there's certain things like that, but the free shipping thing really to me comes down, if I had to pick one of today's, if we said it was either a myth or a fact, I'm going to go with it's a myth. It's a fact that you should look into it and you should do it if you have the capability to do it. But it is a myth that you have to do it. There's a lot of shit. Actually, I bought something today that I paid shipping for, and I hate paying shipping, but I really wanted this. I just got a fire pit for the outside because it's beautiful out, and I bought a Steelers Adirondack chair because I wanted one. And they had 60% off, which is something ridiculous, but it wasn't free shipping. And it was probably fucking Fanatics or some NFL shop or something like that, which is the same thing. But they essentially, what they did is instead of giving me free shipping, they did a ridiculous high discount where I went, oh shit, I should get this now because who knows when they're going to do this big of a discount again. And then they charged me shipping. Where what I ended up paying in shipping, if they had just given me free shipping, I would have gotten like maybe 10, 15% off or something like that. So they did it the complete opposite way. We're not going to give you free shipping. but we're going to do a ridiculous discount. And there's certain companies that you can't do that. If you're a luxury brand and you're doing 60% off, fun fact, you're not a luxury brand. You're shit. You can't have a luxury brand name and do big discounts like that because it just belittles your brand. They are the NFL shop or Fanatics or basically whatever the hell they are. It's the same thing. They can do whatever the hell they want because they almost own the market. So they decided, let's not do free shipping. Let's charge shipping so that we don't have to eat this cost, and let's just do these massive discounts. So you can kind of look at it in two ways. Do small discounts with free shipping. You can do big discounts with no free shipping. You can do no free shipping. Just tell everyone to go buck themselves and pay it. There's so many different ways. So it comes down to your product line. You have to do your research on what your competitors are doing. You have to do your research on what even similar companies are doing. And then, of course, you have to do your research on where are your competitors selling. It might not even be on their site. Are they selling on Amazon? Because if they're on Amazon, then most people may be going to Amazon to get it because they don't have to pay shipping. SOPs, standard operating procedures. So these are a pain in the ass. They are such a hassle. If you do them correctly, they're a big pain in the ass. A lot of people ask me like, when we do SOPs, why can't we just do a video? And you have to do more than a video because it's just not explaining. Let's backtrack, okay? So if you don't know what an SOP is a standard operating procedure. This is essentially an extremely detailed, in-depth write-up with videos and screenshots. If you do it my way, with screenshots and videos and just a write-up of just exactly how you do something in your business. So e-commerce sellers, let's say you have a product launch that you do and you always want your Amazon listing to look a certain way, and you want it to go up on a certain time. You want an email to go out at a certain time. You want your ads to be prepared and look at a certain way for a certain time. If you could actually explain, if you think you could train an employee to do it, that means that you could train a VA to do it. Might not be a VA at overseas for several bucks an hour. It could be someone who knows what they're doing, but if you're not doing it that often, then why hire a full-time employee and pay all the extra expenses on that? So if you can actually video yourself doing something and you can walk someone through it, you can outsource it. And if you can make an SOP for something, you absolutely should. It is the easiest way to scale your business. Every time you do something, every time you have a task, you should look at it and go, okay, who can I give this to? How can I teach someone how to do this? And SOPs are kind of where that comes in. So let me kind of explain how we do it here at BlueTuskr. And then, of course, how a lot of the sellers we work with, I just kind of show them like, hey, here's how we do it. And then I kind of walk them through our process and they'll implement it internally on their own. But so we use Asana as our project management system. And we use, I think it's called the business plan that they have. But essentially it gives you the ability to do templates. It also gives you the ability to do forms within those templates of each. Basically, there's a project, and you can make a template for that project. And then there's a form for each of those projects. And you can have someone fill out that form, and as soon as they submit it, it becomes a task within that project. And then now you have all that information. So if I have a client who wants us to launch a campaign for a certain product line, we have a form where it says, what's the product? Do you want to do a discount? Can attach your imagery here, like just everything that we need, all that stuff. And then it all goes into this project. And then we take that project and we, assign tasks to different people, and then it all goes out. And it makes life so much easier. And the big benefit of that template is that next time it happens, if a client's like, oh, you know what, I wanted to do this, we should have done this, or hey, we forgot to do this, I just have to go, oh shit, I got to remember that for next time. So all I do is I go back into the template into Asana, add it, and then next time I can't forget because it's right there. To me, that's not an SOP though. That's a project. So it's an outline of a project of things that need to be that I need to remember to get done. It's those individual tasks that are different. So one of the things that we do for all campaigns is document when did the campaign start, when did it end, what did the website do, what did the campaign do, what did the ads do, what did the conversion rate do, I got to get all that data so that I know for the next campaign I got to beat that. So what did we learn? I got to compile all that stuff, and a lot of it I like to manually grab just because I'm kind of nitpicky on like I like to see it and then take it myself. And obviously I'm not going to do that myself. So what I've done is I've actually used a platform called Process Street. So Process Street is specifically meant for SOPs, where you basically create a checklist of do this, then do this, then do this. And every little tiny checklist thing that you have is here's a video of it. Here's a snapshot of the area that you need to be in. Here's the stuff that you need to grab. Here's the links of where you can find them. It's an extremely detailed walkthrough of this task. So basically we take that, and each of the tasks within Asana for this project all have an SOP within them. So what happens is I assign that task to a VA. VA opens it up and says, oh, there's I need to do a checklist in Process Street. They open up the checklist that goes to Process Street, and they start going through each little step. They go, okay, now I have to do this, now I have to do this. And then it gets marked off every time they do something. And as soon as they finish, I actually get an email, and we've rigged it now where I also get a Slack message, and it tells me that it's done. So essentially, I know when things are getting done. I know who did it. There's timestamps, so I know what time they did it. It's great for tracking too. So if you're outsourcing to a VA, but you're not using something like Upwork, you want to know how much time they're spending, that's a great way to do this as well. But the big benefit of SOPs that I find is everyone's end goal, right, is to eventually sell their company and retire on a beach somewhere. Even if you want to run your company all the way until you're 90, eventually you're going to have to sell it, or eventually you're going to hand it down to someone else, in which case they need to learn how to do the business. And having an SOP with an exact example of how to do something specifically means that it's idiot proof. You can't fuck it up. It's very simple, which means that basically you've built a library of assets where if you decided one day, you know what, it's time for me to sell this company, you can take your project management system that is basically templated of the concept of what you need to do, and you can take Process Street, which is just a library of SOPs, and you can just hand them over to someone. And instead of them contracting you and locking you up for 2 years to train how to do shit, you can just give them that stuff and be like, look, I'll stick around for 3 months to make sure that you guys know how to read, and then you can get out. It's a fantastic way to set that kind of stuff up, but it's a great way to scale because then you can outsource everything. You can outsource as much as you need to, and you can just sit around and watch checklist notifications on Slack go off, which is basically what I'm doing right now. I'll sit here as I'm doing this podcast. I'll see like, oh, good, so-and-so just finished that. So Process Street, Asana, that's our tech stack of operations, and it's what a lot of our sellers have started to use now too. So highly, highly, highly recommend SOPs, especially for e-commerce sellers, because everything that you do is so repetitive and it's so just like kind of mundane that at a certain point you can actually just outsource a lot of that stuff, and most owners really should be spending their time doing more high-level tasks. So look into it, check it out. That's what I have for today. I'm going to talk to you all about ClickFunnels for e-commerce and what my opinion is on that versus Shopify. So I had someone on YouTube who asked us this question, and as soon as he asked us, I was like, oh, that one's going to be fun. I'm a big fan of Russell Brunson. His books are great. His content that he puts out is great. The dude's a fucking genius if you go and listen to his stuff about funnels and everything. And here's my opinion on it. ClickFunnels is a fantastic platform for people who are selling a service or selling some kind of coaching or something like that, which still kind of goes as a service, or people who are selling like one product or maybe 2 or 3 and are doing some upsells and something. So if you're unfamiliar with ClickFunnels, it's a ton of different templated funnels out there where it's essentially, a really squeeze page, typically like a giveaway of like, hey, download this for just your email, and then it's an upsell kind of situation for the most part. That's layman's terms. And a lot of them are very, very long pages, and if Russell ever listens to this, he knows damn well this is true, where they're obnoxiously long pages with so much copy that I would be shocked if anyone read all of it. I can't even believe someone wrote all of it. And then there's just endless testimonials and endless reviews, and I like that to a certain extent, but it can get so overwhelming that I find myself just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to just finally get to why I even went to this page in the first place. Now, they don't have to be made that way. You can make them significantly less. You can limit the amount that you're putting in, and there's clearly a method to the madness. There's a reason that they put that much copy. There's a reason that they really push and really sell exactly what it is they're selling. But on a product side, there's one big issue if you're expanding your product line. If you want to test a product and you're a brand new e-commerce seller, it might be the way to go. I think ClickFunnels is like $100 a month or something like that, and it just works as is. There's really no apps or anything else additional that you need. Whereas Shopify, it's only like $30 a month, but there's like 500 apps that you are usually suggested to download, and their themes are kind of like crap, to be honest. ClickFunnels, there's a ton of templated funnels out there that you just take and rewrite yourself, which is the same concept as the theme, but to me they just look better. But the thing is that if you're selling multiple products, so you're selling 10, 20 different products, and you're starting to build out a store and you're trying to really build out your e-commerce business, the problem is there's no catalog, so you can't connect to Google Merchant Center or to Facebook catalog. You can't connect to any catalog connection like that. So there's really no way to do any kind of dynamic ads if you're doing it that way. So it's really more of a landing page style approach. Now, is ClickFunnels complementary to Shopify is a different story. If you are selling, if it's a product launch type of page that you want to do, that's a different story. That I like. If you're doing a solo product and you're trying to do a big giveaway, but you don't really want to feature it on your website too much because maybe your website features relatively expensive products, you want to give this away at a high discount just to kind of get it moving, then it might belittle the way the brand looks. Like there's a couple different ways, and kind of depends on obviously the product line. But it can be good. I personally don't use it for the sellers that we work with, just because once you kind of hit a certain size, you don't really need to do it that much. But if it does work well as a landing page. Now, I will also say though, the issue of having it being complementary is you're now looking at, okay, I sold, if you want to run reports on how much of this product versus this product did I sell or something like that, you're working on two different platforms, you're working in two different areas, you have two different reports, so now you have to kind of aggregate everything. That becomes a bit of an issue. You can build out a ClickFunnels style thing on Shopify. There's no reason you can't. You could obviously build out a giant squeeze page on Shopify. You can build out all the upsell pages. It's going to take you to a cart, which will allow them to go back to your website to a certain extent. But at the same time, that's really not that big of a deal for them to see the rest of your product line if you wanted them to. And Shopify doesn't have the world's best upsell opportunities once someone has reached like the end of that cart where they're finally putting in their credit card. But there's a bunch of different apps and things like out there that you can use. But I would say if you have an existing Shopify site and you're still newer as a seller, adding on ClickFunnels is great because the reporting and things like that will be easy. If you're a seller that's been around for a while and you have a Shopify site, I would say don't do it. If you are a brand new seller and you are thinking about getting Shopify and you're thinking about doing your product launch, I would say do ClickFunnels first, because this will be a great way for you to do some market research to see how it works and see what's selling, and then you would upgrade later to Shopify. That's my opinion. I think it's a great testing ground. I think that it's a nice area for sellers up to a certain size, but I think you can outgrow it. How marketing specialists aren't as necessary as they once were. So I want to give some insight into what it is I mean here. So I would say as soon as 3 or 4 years ago, and then all the way prior to that, all of the channels that you would advertise on or that you would be doing any kind of branding on or any type of marketing really, they were all very separate, right? You didn't really have much of an omni-channel approach. You had Facebook was Facebook, you had Google was Google. You didn't really care about anything else around that. You had print, you had radio, and it was kind of just how is each individual thing doing at its certain time. That has severely changed. Everything has really become more of like this omni-channel experience where Facebook is connected into Instagram, and now you're worried about attribution because of the people who are seeing it on Facebook but can easily go to Google. And because everything's becoming so much easier, the whole process is becoming a lot more fluid, where people can just do whatever they want, and they can go wherever they go, and they can shop wherever they want to shop. And because of that, it's really causing marketing specialists to become less and less necessary. And I don't want to say have to revert to more of a generalist, but you have to have a very strong knowledge in multiple marketing strategies, no matter what. Like, to give you an example, when I see let's say someone's hiring, and they're looking specifically for a PPC person, all right, they're looking for some kind of paid advertising manager. I hate seeing that kind of stuff when they're asking for, experience of 5 to 10 years of paid advertising, and you've managed X budget and you've done it for this type of industry and blah, blah, blah. But they don't ask all the other questions, like how much experience do you have in, conversion optimization on a website? How much experience do you have with email marketing or with, let's say, social media or anything along those lines? And the reason I would want to know that kind of stuff is specifically for paid ads, since I'm kind of using that as an example. If you have someone who's a specialist in paid ads and that's all they know, and they keep driving a ton of traffic to a website, but they don't know anything about conversions, the issue is that they'll drive all this traffic and they'll just sit back and go, it's not working, I can't figure out why. They don't have the ability to go into the website and say, okay, conversion optimization, best practices tell me that we need to tweak this, we need to do this, it needs to be mobile friendly, we need to do this, we need to have some kind of overall content strategy, we need to have some kind of tripwire, like something along those lines. So having someone who specializes in one specific thing ends up hindering you because they don't have the ability to speak to why what they're doing may not be doing well enough. So sometimes when we see agencies that specialize in specifically email marketing, it's great, glad you guys are doing that, but if you don't have any kind of knowledge behind why you're getting conversions or why you may not be, and maybe the landing page they're sending them to is not good enough, it really ends up hurting not only the agency but the seller that hires them as well. Because the other problem is, a seller can end up spending thousands of dollars a month on an agency, and even higher sometimes, where they're just sitting there going, why aren't you guys getting it done? Why aren't you getting it done? And the agency is sitting there going, we're spinning our wheels and we can't seem to figure out what the problem is, because they don't have the knowledge of what the other marketing strategies are doing. Marketing is a completely omni-channel approach. Now you have, people who are running ads on Facebook, and it's just brand awareness because they know that they're going to end up going to Google or going to Amazon or Walmart or eBay or Jet or any of those other, I don't even think Jet's around anymore. But it's such a fluid approach in the way that people shop and the way that people are marketed to now, that having someone who's such a specialist in one area becomes such a struggle, because you really just they don't seem to have the ability to understand the overall strategy. They need to be able to look at an entire marketing plan and understand where they fit in. But unfortunately, that's usually not the case unless they're in-house, and it might be a little bit easier. But that's really why I started to see that marketing specialists, although can be useful, are becoming less and less relevant if they don't have some kind of other information or are being directed by someone who has kind of a more overarching experience, who can kind of guide and tell people like, hey, paid ads guy do this, email marketing guy do this, and website designer do this, just because they're able to kind of manipulate and move those puzzle pieces around. But it's just kind of an interesting thing. I've started to see it a lot with e-commerce sellers who are like, okay, the first thing we want to hire is a Amazon ads guy, which is great, but then they have no idea how to do listing optimization, or they have no idea how to optimize a storefront, or they don't really know where traffic's coming from, but they're getting a ton of branded traffic and they don't realize that it's coming from social. Like, having someone who's so specific in one thing is really starting to hurt sellers. So I'm really starting to advocate for having more of, not a generalist, but a specialist with a generalist kind of touch to it. I am almost immediately after yesterday's episode got several questions about the project management system. So I figured I would do an entire episode kind of just touching on the project management system we use and how it can obviously be leveraged in e-commerce. So I had mentioned yesterday we use Asana, and then we template a lot of stuff, and everyone's like, well, what are you templating? What is it you have set up? How have you set it up? Asana, if you don't know, I can't remember. He's some kind of executive. So the owner, the guy who runs Asana, which by the way, they're going to IPO soon, and I highly suggest everyone hops on that because there's not a lot of other project management softwares out there that are going to IPO anytime soon. But there is the guy who runs it, he was inside Facebook, and he created Asana specifically for Facebook. And then he left Facebook to actually grow Asana himself. How he was able to do that without getting sued for whatever reasons is beyond me, but whatever. So we have, I think it's like 30 some odd projects where essentially the way that we've set it up, the worst part and the best part about Asana is that it is so customizable that it's garbage in, garbage out. So if someone doesn't use it correctly, it fucks everything up. So you have to have procedures on how to do stuff. So it means you basically have to idiot-proof everything. But what we do is I have a project for every type of strategy for the most part. So we have, if we bring on a new client, I have one for Google Ads, I have one for Bing, I have one for AdRoll, I have Facebook, I have LinkedIn and Twitter and TikTok, and then I have email newsletters, and we have automated emails, and we have web design and web development, Amazon listings, and A+ content, Amazon ads, of course, blogging, content creation, YouTube, admin stuff, social management. Here, I'm sitting next to it. I will literally just read every single one of these. So all my A+ content, Amazon ads, Amazon emails, Amazon listing optimization, Amazon storefront, Amazon auto emails, that one I did, Bing, blog, branding, campaigns, case studies, that's not, chatbots, eBay ads, which I don't even know why we need one for that because they're stupid, email newsletters, Google ads, HubSpot stuff, product imagery, SEO, social ads, social management, website development, website design, website audits. Some of that stuff is more agency related. But basically what we did is we created a project for each of these things. And then there's got to be 50 some odd tasks in everything. And every time I read an ebook or I read an article or some platform changes their stuff or whatever, I go into that template and I adjust it based on what I know we need to do now. So when Google updated their algorithm over the summer, where they catered a lot more towards page speed and a lot more towards UX stuff, we were kind of already checking that stuff. We were doing a lot there, but what I added a little bit more on an article that I had read about some good ideas, especially the WebP images, which if you don't know what that is, go back a few episodes. I talk about it there. But I went into this template and I basically added new tasks in there of check that all the images are this, do minify CSS, obviously check out all tags and blah, blah, blah. There was a ton of extra crap. There was you know what, let's just clean that out. And so I adjusted there. Or when Facebook recently stopped caring about having 20% text in their images. Again, didn't really change too much for us because I don't really like to do that, but we did have a note in there that said, do not under any circumstances use text, more than 20% text in an image. I took that out and said, try not to. So basically it's now I'm taking all of my knowledge and my team is taking all of their knowledge and stuff that they learn. And every time we learn something, we go back to the project and we just adjust the tasks accordingly. So whenever it gets replicated for the next client that comes in, now all of a sudden it's very simple and they have the newest best practices that we know fit. Then that's where Process Street and all that stuff ties into. And if you missed yesterday's episode, go listen to that. So with e-commerce sellers, this is very, very simple, especially for the stupid repetitive stuff. And to me, most of that comes down to support tickets, new listings, so new product launches. That stuff most of the time is very straightforward. So do this for keyword research, then do this for the Amazon listing, do this for the product listing on the website, and do this for eBay, and this for Wayfair, and then launch this ad, and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff can basically be templated. And then once you launch that next product line, you go, okay, next time we got to remember to do this. And then after you kind of narrow it down, what we ended up doing is we kind of got it to, most of it was really high level. So like first make the image, then make this, then make that. Then we got real deep, like then make the image. Then it basically turned into make the image, don't have the image with this, use this, and it was notes. So then it got even deeper and deeper and deeper, where now it's just even the most minuscule thing of how to make a banner on a blog. There's got to be like 12 or 15 best practices that we have for that kind of stuff now, where we just go back and we are always constantly learning. And the worst part about if someone on your team learns something new, they should be sharing it with the rest of the team, but that's just not always the case, because sometimes they might just go, oh, that's interesting, but that's it. And they don't throw it into Slack, or they don't throw it into an email, or whatever it is that you're using. So now what we do is we go, if you've learned something and it's something that you go, I got to remember to do that. If it's not in Asana, you didn't learn it, because that means that no one else in this office is learning it. So every time you learn something new and you want it to be best practices, go ahead and put it back into Asana. And one issue that we've actually had, which I'm now getting onto a bit of a rant here, but has turned into a good issue because you eventually learn how to get through this hurdle, is that you've scaled the process so much and written out the process and put the SOPs in place to a point where we've even had employees in the past start getting worried that the more information that they put into Asana on stuff that they do and stuff that they know makes them obsolete. If you are bringing in someone in-house, they're not obsolete. They are a high-level, well-educated, very smart person who fits your culture perfectly. If they can make themselves completely useless and sit in the office, that means that I can have them spending their entire time researching all new things. What's new? What's something else we should be doing? What's something that we're already doing that we should be doing better? I don't want them actually doing the work. I want it outsourced. And that's where Asana and things like Process Tree come into place. I'm going to stop because I'm getting on a rant. So if you have any questions about this, shoot me an email, marketinginterruption@BlueTuskr.com. And per usual, rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, all that fun stuff. But I will talk to you all tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning in to the E-Comm Show. Head over to ecommshow.com to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or on the BlueTuskr YouTube channel. The E-Comm Show is brought to you by BlueTuskr, a full-service digital marketing company specifically for e-commerce sellers looking to accelerate their growth. Go to BlueTuskr.com now for more information. Make sure to tune in next week for another amazing episode of the E-Comm Show.